A grave on the Oregon Trail was never marked, but one journal still remembers it. In 1903, at the age of 72, Henry Garrison wrote about a journey he made as a 14-year-old boy, traveling west with his family along the Oregon and Applegate Trails in 1846. By the 1860s, hundreds of thousands had gone west, crossing prairie, desert, and mountain ranges. Not all survived. An estimated 20,000 to 30,000 immigrants died along the trail between 1841 and 1869. Roughly one grave every football field, if evenly spaced from Missouri to Oregon. So many were buried along the route that it came to be known as the nation's longest graveyard, a landscape where graves appeared again and again across more than 2,000 miles. This is the memory of one wagon train and one grave, preserved in Henry Garrison's journal. Here you'll find hidden stories of the Willamette Valley, its people, its places, and its history. If you find this worthwhile, please subscribe and like this video. Joining the channel helps support future work, and your comments help guide what comes next. Henry Garrison was 14 when his family left Missouri to join the wagon trains heading west. His full name was Abraham Henry Garrison, though he preferred to go by Henry, perhaps because his father was also named Abraham. Henry recalled that their last evening at home was spent around a large campfire. The next morning, May 5th, he wrote, breakfast was over by daylight, and soon our teams were hitched to the wagons. The stock was driven from the pasture, and all was ready for the start to the ferry across the Missouri River. By this time, many of our old neighbors had come to see us off, and some accompanied us to the river, 5 miles away. We had an affecting time bidding those goodbye who remained behind. Many tears were shed, but finally the last farewell was said, and off we were to face the troubles and trials of a long and tedious journey across a burning sandy desert to Oregon. There were 12 wagons in the train and 200 head of loose stock, and when on the march we made a grand appearance. By early June, they reached the Platte River in Nebraska. We got to the Platte River about the 6th of June, about 10 miles below the Pawnee village. When we arrived, the Indians showed an inclination to prevent us from passing through their country, but by giving them a beef, we were allowed to pass on. The second day after passing the village, we came to the Immigrant Road at Ash Hollow. We camped on the Platte near an island. My brother David took a yoke of oxen and went across to the island for wood, leaving a chain behind, which was not missed until the next morning. After the wagons left camp, I rode back to the island to look for the chain. After searching for half an hour, I found it, wound it around the horse's neck, and started after the train. Soon after reaching the road, I saw a man coming toward me. When he met me, he told me that my brother Enoch had his leg broken. The train had stopped less than a mile ahead. I got there as quick as the horse could carry me. A wagon dropped into a rut. The wheels passed over Enoch's leg. The damage was beyond repair. Henry wrote, Enoch was a very promising boy, only 7 years old and a natural poet. In that moment, he vowed if the boy survived, he would give up his education and stay home to work so Enoch could still have the life the trail was taking from him. He remained in the wagon for 5 days, refusing to let Henry leave his sight. His condition worsened. The night before the operation, Enoch was moved into a tent. He asked for singing and prayer, and many gathered there through the night. At sunrise, preparations were made to amputate the leg, carried out by a hospital steward traveling with the train. The operation revealed the full extent of the injury. The leg was amputated above the knee, but further damage was found in the bone. When it was finished, the boy asked to see his leg. The doctor told him to wait a few minutes. In that brief pause, he saw his mother standing beside him. He took her hand and said, "Goodbye, Mother. I'm going to heaven." She told him it was not yet time. He then reached for Henry and, with difficulty, said goodbye once more, asking him to tell Pa and the rest goodbye. As Henry recorded it, his soul winged its way to where there is no more broken limbs. Neither is there any more suffering. The burial took place that evening. There was no time to remain. The train had to move at first light. It was reported that Indians were in the habit of digging up graves to obtain shrouding. To prevent this, the grave was placed where wagons would pass directly over it, concealing it once the train moved on. The work was done quickly. Sod was cut in squares and set aside. Bed quilts were spread to receive the soil. The child was wrapped in a sheet, placed in a buffalo robe, and lowered into the ground as Reverend Mr. Cornwall conducted a brief service. When it was finished, the sod was replaced and the remaining soil carried to the river so nothing would mark the spot. At dawn, the wagon train, now 74 wagons strong, rolled forward and passed over the grave. Only Henry's father's wagon was guided aside. The wagons moved on through Nebraska and into Wyoming. Beyond Wyoming, the land opened into wide, dry basins where water was uncertain and exhaustion constant. Progress slowed. Animals weakened. Still, they moved on. Beyond the basins, the land rose again into broken country of ridges, rivers, and narrow passages that slowed everything further. Each crossing demanded effort. Each mile took more than the last. The direction was no longer uncertain. Oregon was ahead. On December 12, 1846, the Garrison family reached the Willamette Valley in Oregon. Henry remembered hunger, exhaustion, and illness, but also the moments when families shared what little they had left. He wrote, "Our journey is ended. Our toils are over, but I have not tried to portray the terrible conditions we were placed in. No tongue can tell, nor pen describe the heart-rending scenes through which we passed, the sickness and deaths, then to hear children crying for bread, fathers mourning because they could not appease their hunger, mother broken-hearted and weeping for her hungry child, though she was emaciated and starving herself." He also wrote, "I heard it said by more than one poor mother that if it had not been for my mother their children would have gone hungry. She always had some bread on hand, and it was a daily occurrence for her to send bread to some poor child crying for something to eat. These troubles are now in the past." The Oregon Trail was a test of endurance. Some reached Oregon, some did not. Many were buried along the way, in places that would never be marked again. Henry's journal is likely the only surviving record that one of those graves ever existed.